Okay, so I just wanted to pan to my audience. All right, my name is Simona Higgs, and I am doing my presentation today on vintage and antique glass. I want to start off by explaining the difference between vintage and antique. Vintage is usually an item that's 20 years or more, and vintage would be 100 years and more. So I collect vintage and antique glass. I started collecting maybe a year ago. Um, there is there are two types of glass I collect, and they're both in the Depression era, but there it's Depression glass and milk glass. I enjoy collecting the milk glass the most. Um, the Depression glass does come in multiple colors: pinks, blues, yellows, greens. Milk glass, of course, got its name because it's white. It's usually white, but they do have different colors of milk glass. Also reds, blues, browns. Um, so I wanted to start off by saying that a lot of these pieces are used for decorating. They're used for kitchenware or tableware, um, punch bowls, salt and pepper shakers, just bases, which a lot of you probably recognize the pieces because I'm sure your grandmother had these bases in her home. So, um, let me start off by showing you a piece the of depression glass. Um, this is considered depression glass. It's called and it's different patterns, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's called a Sweetheart Monex pattern, and this pattern is very collectible. And this is considered depression glass. It's a opaque looking color, and then we have milk glass, which this is the vase I'm talking about that I'm sure everybody's parents, oops, I'm sorry, had in their home, and also has a different pattern. I'm not sure what this pattern is called, but milk glass had different patterns as well. Uh, they also here's salt and pepper shakers, and I mean these are probably the oldest piece I had or pieces I have. Um, from my research, early 19 or 1880s, 1900s is what they're saying. These the era that they came from. There are different makers of glass. There was Fenton. There was Jeannette Glass. There is what's another one? Macbeth Evans. There were a lot of different glass makers during this time, or during that Depression era. Uh, Also, Westmoreland was a glass maker. I want to show you. This is a piece that was made by Westmoreland. This is milk glass, and it's some people use it for a candy dish. I mean, but and they say it's a candy dish, but some people can use it for a trinket box, put your jewelry in it or whatever. That's why I love them because I can decorate with them and I can do what I want to do with them and store whatever I want to store in them. So I love those little containers or glass bowl vases, candy dishes. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go. Also tableware like cups. They made a lot of different dishes, coffee cups. Um, they also have Pyrex, which is very collectible now because it was made out of milk glass. So everybody is collecting Pyrex. Um, and also the prices have skyrocketed. If you go somewhere and try to buy, like a vintage piece of Pyrex, it's really expensive. But anyway, and then So how you can identify some of these pieces, you can basically milk glass it has an iridescent hue to it. It was made with salt, um, and that salt it has when you look through it, like through the milk glass, through with in the light, it has different hues of reds, greens, and blues. So that's how you can kind of tell if it's milk glass. And also you can use the black light to for depression glass. A lot of depression glass pieces, or a few depression glass pieces, had small amounts of uranium in them, and so they actually glow. Right. So I'm going to show you that with the black light. I don't know if you can tell that it glows. Mm-hmm. This is a piece of depression glass. And then there's also another bowl that's like it's a milk glass, but a lot of milk glass, or some milk glass pieces glow too, but maybe this is not as good of an example, but kind of, you can see. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can use a black light to test that. And then again, you can just look at the different patterns, like certain patterns, like the one I showed you, the Monex Sweetheart pattern. You can tell that is you can tell it's depression glass by the pattern. Uh, and this pattern here, the Westmoreland, is kind of like a sawtooth pattern. You can also tell this vintage or depression glass by that as well. So that's my presentation. I hope that I inspire someone to start collecting. I enjoy collecting. It's it's therapeutic for me, and the I get a like a I get a kind of a high out of finding pieces. So it's exciting. And again, I hope that this presentation encourages you to collect or start collecting vintage glass. Thank you.